Alright, how we doing? Let's get some things moved out of the way here and let's take a look. So, we got the first question. It says, match the following angles with their appropriate description. Okay, so two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. We also have two angles that are across from each other whose measure are equal. Well, I think that one we go down here with vertical angles. Two angles whose sum is 90 degrees, and we also have two angles that have common vertex and share a side with no point. So let's say that's adjacent. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. Put it in there. And then two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Okay, and 180. Supplementary. And we would have that. Let's see. It says find the value of the appropriate angle. Okay, so if we know that we have the whole thing equals 80 and this small piece is 50, sorry, that's a 5, we would subtract and we would have 30 degrees. Okay, moving along, let's go ahead and move along. Okay, choose the best description of the pair of angles. Back to our, we would have complementary, but we'd also have adjacent angles because they're directly next to each other. We would go through the next one. It says which angles would be equal in measure. Okay, so we would say that Z is equal to X and W is equal to Y. You can kind of see it if you look at this angle and this angle in here and this one are almost the exact same. They actually are the exact same. So for us, we want to do what is across from each other. So Z and X and Y and W. Find the measure of RSL. Well, we know that we have a straight line. A straight line is always equal to 180 degrees. So if we subtract 62, which is the piece we know, we can get our answer. We need to borrow. Makes that 7, makes that 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 6 is 1. 1 minus 0 is 1. So we need 118 would be our angle. Let's go ahead and carry on. Here we go. We have the measure of angle B that we're trying to find. Well, we know what this symbol means. This symbol means 90 degrees. So we know that we have 65 of the 90 degrees. And we need to just do a simple subtraction problem. This would become an 8 when we borrow. This becomes 10. So we have a 5 here. And we would have 8 minus 6 is 2. So we have 25 degrees. Making sure we put our degree symbol in there. Alright. Moving right along. We know that this straight line is going to equal 180. So we have two angles that we know, and we're missing this piece. So we know that if we took 52 and 58, we're going to get 110 because 50 plus 50 is 100 and 2 plus 8 is 10. So really we're subtracting 110 from 180. So we are going to have 70 left over. Our answer would be 70 degrees. I don't know if it's going to let you put your degree symbol in. Oh, it doesn't because it's written there. Alright, let's check the next question. Okay. So it says find the supplement of each angle. Okay. So we're looking to do basically 180 minus each one of these, and it's going to be, so 180 minus 75, that's going to get me my 105. We have 180 subtract 55, we are going to get our 125. We have 180, take away 85, we are going to get 95. We have 180, take away 65, we're going to get 115. Okay, moving right along. It wants to know what is the complement. So the complement now is going to add up to 90 degrees. So 30 plus what is going to get me 90? Well, 30 plus 60 is 90. Okay. We are going to have to figure out what 28 plus what is going to be 90. Well, we know it's never going to be 150, right? So we're going to say 62, and we would say 70. We're going to do 90 minus 75 gets us our 15. Okay, moving right along. Okay, so we have to work through this one a little bit. This is basically telling me that this side is also a right angle. So here we have this angle is a 90 degrees. So that means that this angle would be 90, because it's saying that these two lines here and here are perpendicular, which creates 90 degree angles. So we know 90, and we know a piece of it is 39, so let's move that 39, and it will leave us with our remaining angle, which is 51 degrees. Okay, let's keep moving right along. Okay, this is starting to get into a little bit more algebraic thinking. We talked about angles that were vertical angles, which means across from each other. They are going to be equal. So we know that we need to set this up that they're equal. So we want to say 2 plus 3x equals 62. Well, which ones say 2 plus 3x equals 62? That one says it. And these ones we're not going to choose. I think we got it. Okay, here we go. We can start to work through this problem. We know that if it's across from it, that it's 85, so we know that that's got to be true. And then we know that we have a angle here, and they're trying to tell us that this is a straight line, so this is a straight line. So we know that this piece of our angle is 85, and a straight line is always 180 degrees. So if we subtract our 85, it will leave us with 95. So we know that angle 1 is going to be 95, and angle 1 is across from angle 3, so that would also be 95. Okay, let's check it out. Moving right along, these are complementary, because if we complement somebody, it's the right thing to do, and if we're doing the right thing, we have a right angle and complementary. Okay, there are also angles that are directly next to each other, so they're adjacent. Okay, we have on this one, we don't have a complementary because it's not 90, and we don't have supplementary because it doesn't add up to 180, but the angles are next to each other, so they are adjacent. Looking at the next one, we do have 180, so that would be supplementary, and they are next to each other, so they are adjacent. 90 degree angle, complementary. Complement is the right thing to do. And then we have adjacent angles. They are directly next to each other. Okay, and the last question I can't see, but I'm guessing that it is, they are, let's say, nope, not complementary, they're supplementary, and they are vertical angles because they're across from each other. So moving right along, here we go. It says find the missing measure. Well, we know that a triangle has 180 degrees in it. So we know that if we add these two up, 20 and 80 is 100. So we have to subtract, and it will leave us our remaining angle of 80. Okay, moving right along. Same thing. We know that this plus this plus this is going to equal 180 degrees. So we know that total value is 180 degrees. 61 and 42, if we add those up, we will get 103. So we need to subtract 103. We need to borrow. Okay, which is going to leave us with 7. So it's going to be 77 degrees. It's already written here for you. Okay, so we want to go ahead and go on to the next question. Now, this is where we're doing a little bit more work, because we know the whole thing is going to add up to 180 degrees. So we need to say x plus 59 plus 84 plus x plus 51 equals 180 degrees. Well, we don't know what x is, but we know we have two of them, and they are the same values. So we have two x's. And we know we have 59. We have 59, we have 84, and we have 51. If you put that into a calculator, that would come up to 194. So that has to equal 180. So we want to draw a line, and we're going to use adding balanced sets. So we're going to add in 194 that's negative. So we're going to do that to both sides. We will cancel these because that is a zero pair. Leaves us 2x. And then we have this subtraction problem over here, which is going to give us a negative number, because we have 180 and we're taking away 194. It's going to equal negative 14. Don't be scared of a negative 14. It's not going to really cause too many problems. We need to divide by 2, and we need to divide by 2, and it's going to leave us with x equals negative 7. Okay, that was a tough problem, probably a little bit more advanced. If you're not fully understanding that one's okay. Probably one of our harder questions we're going to see. Moving right along, we are on the next one. A triangle has a side length of 11, 7, which could be a value of the third side. Well, we know that if we have a triangle, in order for it to be able to stand up and touch this point here, that the most it could be would, let's see, hold on, 7. It has to be, this side here has to be larger than these two sides. Because if it's the same, let's say our bottom was 17, that would work. But if it was 19, let's say our bottom was 19, we would have our 11, and it would just fall flat. And then we would have our 7, and it would just fall flat. And then basically what you would have is you would have the line laying here, the line laying here, you would have 11, and you would have 7, which add up to 18, so this gap in between would be 1. So it can't be 19 because our triangle would never actually touch at the top. Whereas this one, if we have 17 across the bottom and we have 11 and 7, they are going to touch because they are adding up to greater than this distance. Okay, which will 8 to 8 make a triangle? And the answer would be yes, because we would have our 8. Well, 8, if we had our 8 on the bottom, this would be 4, and this would be 2. That actually doesn't work because we'd have a 2 space in the middle. It would be too short. So our answer is actually no. That's why we want to do the math. We want to work it out. Even I make mistakes when I don't work things out. Okay, the next one, which part proves it? And we would say that 8 and so 4 plus 8 is greater than 2, of course, but that's not the reason. 4 plus 2 is greater than 8, or 8 plus 2 is greater than, I would say none of these is the reason. Okay, does this one make a triangle? Basically, let's see. 6, 5, 6, 7. 5 and 6 is greater. I think we're good.